Summer's hotter weather is finally here, but don't let hair loss also make you sweat. Regrow hair with help from Hims. They provide access to personalized treatment so you can see thicker, fuller hair in just 3 to 6 months. Get started from the comfort of home. Fill out an intake form and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to you for free. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/Hail Mary. That's HIMS.com/Hail Mary for personalized hair loss treatment options. hims.com/Hail Mary. Individual results may vary. Based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription required. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information.
If you're a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility and your machinery isn't working right, Grainger knows you need to understand what's wrong as soon as possible. So when a conveyor motor falters, Grainger offers diagnostic tools like calibration kits and multimeters to help you identify and fix the problem. With Grainger, you can be confident you have everything you need to keep your facility running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to the Dogs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
What's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dogs Podcast, a victory Sunday night. I think no better way to kick off this episode than to hear from some Dog Pack members who were at boots on the ground at Huntington Bank Field today.
Guys, the game is done right now. The Browns did exactly what we wanted them to do. Quinshon Judkins carried the rock. Whether it was Wildcat or whatever formation it was, he did what he needed to do. He put 21 points on the board, and the defense is what they are when they're at home. Can't expect nothing more. Bye week, on to the Patriots. Figure out some shit. Let's win some games. Go Brownies. Hoo-hoo.
I love the enthusiasm. Good. I could have went to this game with Kenny, and I said, that's okay. I'll watch it from my couch.
I know. Justin asked if I wanted to go with him, and I said, no, I have some other stuff going on anyway. But I was like,
that did not seem like the kind of environment, although it would have been great to be there for a good win. Thank you to Kenny for sending in the video. It's always awesome to get some videos from the stadium on game day. We're going to hear from Kenny later. He left us a voicemail. If you want to get intros and voicemails on the show, head to thedogspodcast.com, tap leave voicemail in the drop-down menu. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Make sure you tap the notification bell so you don't miss any of the content that we're putting out. You can listen to the show on Apple and Spotify. You can find us on any of the major social media platforms. Just search at the Dogs Podcast. And if you want more Dogs content, you want to be able to maybe go get free tickets to rain games in Cleveland from Dog Pack members who have extra seats. That's what I could have done today. You want to have access to the private Discord. You want to play fantasy football with us down the road. It's just a good time for everybody involved. We've been adding some new members lately, and they just jump right in. It's like they've been here forever. So it's a great time for everybody involved. That's jointhedogs.com, become an official Dog Pack member. And if you see all these cool emojis in the chat, those are YouTube members. 99 cents a month. You can become a YouTube member, get the cool emojis in the chat. You don't really notice that you're missing 99 cents, but helps out the show a ton. So, again, you can become a YouTube member. Fun one today for the Cleveland Browns. They eclipsed not just 17 points, not just 10, 20 points. They eclipsed 30 points to down the Dolphins 31-6 in a game in which really all three phases played pretty well. The offense was still obviously not a juggernaut, but I don't know how realistic it would have been to expect a juggernaut performance, especially in the conditions we saw in the first half. It was raining pretty hard for basically that entire first half. And then once you have a big lead, if you're the Browns in that second half, and it became obvious the Dolphins weren't going to do anything against our defense, there's no point going out there and just chucking up balls, at this point, it's like win the game. You know what I mean? We're not out here to try to set scoring records. We're just out here to try to get a W. I saw an interesting stat in the Discord today that I think it was Kevin is 31-5 when he has a lead at halftime, and so he's up to 32-5 now. So if we can take a lead into halftime, and you're a Cleveland Browns fan, there's a good chance we're going to win the game. So I just thought it was a dominant performance by the Browns defensively. Forced 4 turnovers. It was a callback to that 2023 season where the defense wasn't perfect, but they were opportunistic. They forced turnovers. They got sacks. Like, our rush defense still wasn't great today, but it was good enough. And then on top of that, you forced the 4 turnovers. Well, 3 turnovers on defense and 1 on special teams. You get the big sacks. You put them in first and long, second and long by getting the big sack. So just a dominant defensive effort. They played with a ton of energy. The offense did what they needed to do. And then special teams coming out, they forced a turnover. We made all of our kicks. It was just all 3 phases. One of the best played Browns games really in a while. I mean, obviously we beat the Packers, but this was all 3 phases playing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers win was completely different because that was just a nothing till the very. I thought we were getting shut out until very close to the end, and then the defense made a big play, and it got things turning right toward the end of the game. This one was dominant from the beginning, and I see people still kind of complaining about the passing game, like you mentioned in this one, and we did the preview show on Thursday. We talked about this game all weekend, and what did everybody say the Browns need to do? Run the freaking ball. Give the ball a million times to Quinshon Judkins. Don't let Dylan throw it. So what did Kevin do? He ran Quinshon Judkins a million times and didn't let Dylan really throw it. And some people are upset about it. I don't get it. Like, Quinshon had 17 or 18 carries in the first half. He had 25 for the game. Most of them were in the first half. They were just feeding him. And that's what we need to do. Like you said, the conditions were terrible in that first half. All you could do was run. They're the 32nd ranked run defense in the league. They're the worst defense against the run. So that's why we said, just run the ball. Don't overthink this one. They didn't. They did very well.
I was actually nervous. I sent this out in the Discord before the game. Everybody was talking about how it should be like a huge game for Quinshon because of the weather. And I kept thinking, I feel like this hurts us a little bit because now we already don't really have much of a threat in terms of a passing game. But if it's going to be rainy and muddy the whole time, there's definitely no threat of a passing game, and they're just going to sell out to stop the run. I just felt like the weather would be doing the worst rush defense in the league a favor, and I was worried that we would end up in 3rd and long, 2nd and longs over and over again because they're just selling out to stop the run, and we can't throw the ball because it's a monsoon, and it was just going to limit us a ton. I was happy to see that we stuck with it. We just kept grinding away at it. We're like, these guys are the worst run defense. Even if we're getting stuffed 2-3 times in a row, we're going to give it to him a 4th time and a 5th time, and eventually he's going to break one, and it's going to be good for us. And then we saw it happen. Just break a 46-yarder, kind of open the floodgates. So I thought the game plan was good. I really liked some of the play design today. I thought the screen pass to Malachi Corley was a very cool play. Kind of looked like it was going to be like a quick outside pass. Instead, you get him coming underneath the lineman. I liked that play. I liked the Wildcat, just getting the ball in the hands of your best player. I was a little nervous because of how rainy it was. You have a guy who's not used to taking snaps, and he bobbled one.
Yeah.
But I mean, you gotta, I guess, as a coach, you trust your best player on offense to go out and do best player things, and that's what he did. So I don't know. I liked it. You saw the defense be really aggressive. We don't blitz a ton. I think they kept talking about on the broadcast. We only blitzed like 4 or 5 times, but we chose those spots nicely and forced them into bad situations, into turnovers, and then we were able to get home with 4 guys a bunch today, which is why you don't have to blitz a ton. So I just thought it was a great game, and I guess obviously it's the Dolphins. They're bad. There's no excuse. This was my takeaway, and I said this is the Dolphins are what an actually poorly coached team looks like, because there's no reason for them to be that bad. They have like a decent bit of talent sprinkled on that roster. Even Tua played high level football like 2 years ago. They got A-Chain who's a very good running back. They got Jalen Waddle, who's a first-round wide receiver. Darren Waller had been balling out. I know he went out at one point, or went out during this game. They got Chubb on the defensive side. Like, they got some pieces, and you can tell they're checked out. Oh, like they're checked out. They're done. They had so many bad penalties. So, like, to me, it was very telling. There were 2 1-5 football teams out there. One of them still preparing hard, still trying to go out and execute, still bought in, and one of them totally checked out. I won't be shocked if their coach isn't fired tomorrow. Oh,
I'm fully expecting to open Twitter in the morning and see Mike McDaniel fired as head coach of the Dolphins for sure. I mean, and he kind of looked like it. He kind of looked like a dude out there coaching his last game. Like, he kind of knew it, especially late in the game. And I mean, like you said, the penalties, man, 11. They had 11 for 103 yards. That's insane. You don't see that. You don't see that very often at all. That team is terrible. I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. I was just as happy as and pleasantly surprised as I was with how the Browns played. I was equally disgusted by how terrible the Dolphins are.
They're a bad football team. And it's just, it looked like both teams were 1-5, but we did to them like what good football teams are supposed to do to bad football teams.
Right.
You know what I mean? All right, we have a super chat. Let's get to it real quick.
Oh, yeah. What's going on there?
It says, serious question. What has SS done in career that makes everyone think he's automatically our QB saver? Don't believe he had a big time W in college. Well, this is way off topic, but we will address it since it's a super chat. I think people just saw Shedeur take a bad Jackson State team, make them good, go to Colorado, take over at the worst Division 1A college football team in the nation and make them relevant. Took them to back-to-back bowl games with pretty much him and Travis Hunter. So obviously there's some Shedeur fans out there that are just, you can't reason with them. He's God's gift to football. But I think there's things to be excited about. I want them to put Shedeur in. I know we're coming off a win, and honestly, if the defense gets a stop in London, Dylan Gabriel's 2-1 as a starter, and we've won 2 of our last 3 games. But I'm ready to see Shedeur come out and play, because despite the good that we've talked about, the offense was limited. There were a couple plays today by Dylan that I was just like, what's he looking at?
That's a second half whenever it wasn't raining quite as. I mean, it was still raining, right, in the second half, but it just wasn't like it was in the first half. I can't remember from the broadcast.
I think it wasn't raining at least as hard, at least from what I could tell.
Okay, you guys in the chat who were there, chime in on this. So the second half, the conditions weren't how it was in the beginning of the game, and we did see the Browns try to go downfield a little bit a couple times, and just doesn't look like Dylan can make the throws. I mean, if we're going to have that conversation about Dylan right now, we might as well just go ahead into it. But I like what he can do as far as a game management perspective, which is what you need if you have a backup. You got a guy who needs to come in and spot start and try to get you through a stretch while your starter's on the shelf or whatever. He's not a starter, though. Like, he's not a long-term answer at the quarterback position. And I think that's clearly evident. I know a lot of people say, well, we haven't turned the ball over in 3 games. I know, but last week we should have. I know should have and did are 2 different things, but come on, he threw like 5 or 6 passes that were clearly interceptable. They just didn't happen. So it's.
Ara says Dylan's throws look ugly. And that's what I was going to say. And when he throws like a little underneath route or like a slant or, a 10-yard drag or something like that, he throws it with heat and conviction. And I'm like, oh, that was a nice throw. That was on a rope. But he threw deep to Judy in the second half, and it looked like a middle school kid threw the ball. It just it didn't go anywhere close to where it needed to be. And they threw a flag, and then they end up picking it up. And I was just like, how is that the throw? And we've seen that all year. Like, anything he tries to throw downfield is just way off target, out of bounds, way too far, just not even close. So it's just, I'm ready to see when people talk about not turning the ball over, So there's something to be said about playing too safe. You know what I mean? Like you can go too much in the one direction in terms of you're so fearful of throwing the pick that you won't give your guys any chance to make a play. I mean, we saw that if for Ohio State fans, we watched the game yesterday. Carnell Tate's second touchdown, I believe, he had the guy beat, but the other safety's coming over, 2 guys there. But Julian Sain still puts it up to where he can get it and lets his guy go make a play. I don't feel like Dylan Gabriel would make that kind of throw. Like he wouldn't put it up high, let his receiver go up and high point and try to make a play. He'd throw a check down. Instead of a potential touchdown, we'd end up with 3 yards to 5 yards. You know what I mean? Just because we're just so terrified of the turnover. Obviously, you don't want to throw 5 interceptions a game. You don't want to throw 3 interceptions a game. But I'll take the occasional pick if it means that we're stretching the field, because by doing that, you open up everything else. The run game gets better. Your underneath passes all of a sudden are more open, and maybe a guy can get some yak after one of those. You got to have some threat downfield. You got to be willing to push the ball downfield.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. I saw someone, I think I lost it already in the chat, but they said, I'm not a Shedeur hater, but, how come when he was on the practice squad, nobody tried to nab him? Shedeur's never on the practice squad. So I don't know where some of these narratives come from, but you talk about a quarterback putting the ball up, kind of like Julian Sain did with Carnell Tate the other day. Well, that's a throw that Shedeur Sanders makes. We saw that in the preseason game against the Panthers where he had Caden Davis in the corner of the end zone for his first touchdown. He had 2 guys on him, and he put it up in the corner where only Davis could come down with the catch, and he did. Like, that's the kind of throws we're talking about a quarterback being able to make. You don't really see that from Dylan, despite the Browns constantly telling us that, timing and rhythm and his accuracy and all this and that. I tend to believe more of the reporters that were at camp all summer that said, not so much, because that's kind of what we've seen in the games. Like, he's not making the big mistakes and stuff like that, but he's also not making any big plays or big throws or anything that makes you say, like you said before, wow. I've not been wow one time so far with Dylan.
I agree. But
and I like him. It's nothing against him. It's just I just don't think that's in his future to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
I just don't see the juice. And I'm willing to give him the Patriots because if we're going to make the switch, I'd rather do it at the bye. So I'm willing to give him the Patriots. And I'm not going to bench a guy coming off a win.
No.
So, you know what I mean? So,
right.
and I'm not trying to turn a victory Sunday into, we're just talking about the game and what we saw. Obviously, we're super pumped about the win. And another thing I want to talk about in this win, we're so quick to just wanted to fire sale everything with this season until we realize the season's not even halfway over. The Browns could still finish this year. My hot take in the Discord was that the Browns will win today and then going forward 3 of their next 4 games. I think we'll lose to the Patriots, and then out of the bye, you got Jets, a struggling Ravens team, and a super bad Raiders team. There's a chance. There's a chance that even if we suffer a tough loss next week with the Patriots, there's a chance if the defense plays like they did today, opportunistic, they play with their hair on fire, they're getting after it, there's a chance we end up winning 4 of 5 games here.
So let's talk, though, about the defense, because I think this kind of goes to what you're saying. I look at the schedule, too, and I think, okay, because I was telling people the last couple of weeks, are we going to be the team that ends the season with 1 win? No, there's going to be other games that the Browns are going to win this year. Is it going to be a ton? Probably not, but there's still going to be more games. This defense, everybody's now being real quick, the defense is back to being elite. We've been saying this for weeks. At home, yes, this is the defense at home. On the road, completely different story. Mid, you've been preaching about the last couple weeks. They're just not the same defense on the road. Does it concern me next week against the Patriots in New England? Yes. Does it concern me after the bye on the road in New York against the Jets? Not as much, because the Jets are terrible. Does it concern me on the road in Vegas against the Pete Carroll team? I'm sort of somewhere in between where I'm like, who knows what the Raiders, if they can pull anything together in the next month before we face them. But right now it looks like they're a reeling team.
Yeah. It's I want to give a lot of credit to Miles today because I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit irritated with him a lot this week with just like some of the media sound bites and some of the stuff he said after the game last week. I was just a little bit like, okay, Miles, I still love you, but like, can we be quiet a little bit here? But Justin sent us a video from the pregame when he was kind of giving a speech to the team, or at least just to the defense. And he was animated and he was fired up and he had he was getting into people's faces. Like he was doing something like I don't see him do a ton. He's not typically, at least I'm not at the games, but I never think of Miles as like the vocal leader for the defense. He leads by like example in his play and stuff like that. And he came out and he had the defense fired up. And so I want to give him a ton of credit because he played really well. My favorite play of Miles today wasn't any of the sacks or the pressures. It was the play they ran to him. He was on the left side of the defense and they ran right at him. And he just essentially forearm in this offensive tackle's chest, just stands this dude up, stretches it out, and stops the run play. And I was just like, you're not supposed to be able to do that to an offensive tackle. Like he just like one arm bench pressed this guy, this 300-pound lineman off of him, just like he was not even there, like he was a middle school kid, and made the tackle on the run play. And I was like, okay, Miles is locked in today. If he's stopping the run like that, like he's locked in. So I wanted to give a huge shout out to Miles because coming off a week where he was kind of talking a lot and people were questioning the locker room, like, what's going on? Are people already starting to give up on the season? I think we saw today that's not the case. Defense was fired up. We heard Joel Petonio post-game talking about Kevin was kind of like intense and in people's face on Monday, like laying out what the expectations were going to be. Like, we're not going to fold. And Joel said like he feels like guys kind of took that to heart and like they were bought in this week, and it showed on the field.
Between client meetings, managing your business, and everyday tasks, who has time to worry about website hosting? With Kinsta's managed WordPress hosting, you don't have to. They handle the technical stuff, delivering lightning-fast load times, enterprise-grade security, and 24/7 365 human-only support. Simply switching to Kinsta could make your site up to 200% faster. Kinsta's custom dashboard makes managing sites easy, with powerful features designed to save you time and effort. Plus, their free expert-led migrations ensure a smooth transition. Ready to see why Kinsta is trusted by thousands of businesses? Get your first month free at Kinsta.com. That's KINSTA.com. Kinsta. Simply better hosting.
Summer's hotter weather is finally here. But don't let hair loss also make you sweat. Regrow hair with help from Hims. They provide access to personalized treatment so you can see thicker, fuller hair in just 3 to 6 months. Get started from the comfort of home. Fill out an intake form and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to you for free. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/Hail Mary. That's HIMS.com/Hail Mary for personalized hair loss treatment options. hims.com/Hail Mary. Individual results may vary. Based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription required. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information.
If you're a custodial supervisor at a local high school, you know that cleanliness is key and that the best place to get cleaning supplies is from Grainger. Grainger helps you stay fully stocked on the products you trust, from paper towels and disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Plus, you can rely on Grainger for easy reordering, so you never run out of what you need. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Browns fans, if you're like me, the stresses in life only increase the older you get. Your family, your job, your bank account, just a few things that drive the cycle of stress every day. And if you have people constantly depending on you, it can put a heavy weight on your mental health. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? Why does no one appreciate everything I'm trying to do for them? If these thoughts have ever darkened your day, 1, you're not alone, and 2, I highly recommend talking to someone, and that's where BetterHelp could be the right resource for you. Head to BetterHelp, betterhelp.com/dogs, DAWGS, for 10% off your first month of talk therapy. Just fill out a simple questionnaire and BetterHelp will match you with the best therapist for your needs. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch therapists at any time for no extra cost. BetterHelp is 100% online. You can talk with your therapist on the phone, via face chat, or even through text message. Your therapist will listen, ask questions, and help you see things from new perspectives. So what are you waiting for? Take the first step to making positive improvements in your life. Head to betterhelp.com/dogs now for 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/dogs for 10% off your first month.
All right, Josh, you take over. I'll figure this out on my end live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Maybe play a voicemail or something.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. While he's figuring that out real quick, talking about the guys that were talking in the media and stuff this week, the other one was Grant Delpit. And Grant Delpit was the one who came out and said, look, I don't even know what winning really feels like anymore. And that's kind of where that whole, wow, is this locker room starting to question the direction of the team and all that kind of stuff started to come from. And it's good because, like I was trying to say before he lost me there. So yes, I can hear. We can hear you. Okay. You got me back or not?
Yes, I'm back.
You're good. Okay. The media in general has been super, super critical of this entire regime, the front office, the coaching staff, and everything more and more and more each week that we continue to lose ball games. And it's good. I'm glad to hear that he's been intent and getting in people's faces, because you could be like Mike McDaniel, who looks like he's already folded. Like, I can't do anything with this team. They're gone. I'm gone. I don't really give a crap. That's what I got from Mike McDaniel today. Kevin, I'm glad. It was great to see them come out and just stick it to him and just keep sticking it to him. It was so good. But let me play Brad's voicemail real quick.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Let's go. We got that win. Hey, boys, guess what? Alpha Dogs, 2-0. Me attending games, 2-0. Let's go. It looked pretty good. Defense looked awesome. That was an awesome showing. Everybody's chanting. But Dylan Gabriel managed the game like we expected. No turnovers, which is great. And Judkins is him. I could see him winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. And, it was a fun time. Hang out with the Dog Pound guys. And finally, we get another win. Let's go. And we got a bye week, so we can't lose that one. Let's go, Browns.
So him and Kenny both seem to have mixed up when the bye week is.
Okay, I was going to say, am I confused?
No, and I even had to double check because these guys both left voicemails on my list. I'm like, what? I really thought the bye week was after next week. And I'm like, okay, it is. So we play the Patriots in New England next week, and then we get the bye week. But let's talk about Quinshon Judkins real quick. Well, I mean, the 46-yard touchdown run is something I just wanted to highlight, not just because it was a 46-yard touchdown run, and you don't see those very often. You don't see those from the Browns very often. But this is a guy who, one, in the draft process, people questioned his long speed. Can he actually break off a big run? We've seen it a couple times now. One got called back against Minnesota, but we've seen it. And two, he broke like 3 tackles on that run. He was getting hit and slowed up and still had the acceleration to get to the sideline and get down the field and score. I mean, he's still outrunning people after he's getting hit. This guy, I mean, this is a home run pick.
He's awesome. He's got plenty of speed. What I really like about him too is he runs so tough and so hard that he had 25 carries for 84 yards. And to be honest, like, we had tons of negative runs. At one point, I think he had 20. Like, if you would have take out like his shortest run and his longest run, he was at like 19 carries for 28 yards or something like that. Like, we had a lot of 1-yard runs, 0-yard runs, that kind of thing. But he's the kind of player that you just keep giving it to him and you wear him down and they get tired of tackling him, and he doesn't need much of a sliver to be gone.
Right.
And you saw that today. So he's an awesome pick. Maybe another one of my favorite things was Jerome Ford only had 1 carry.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
He only had 1 carry. Dylan Sampson only had 3 carries for 8 yards. I don't know. Maybe he had a catch for 9. I felt like he had more of an impact than that, but I guess it was only 4 touches. I was thinking about this today too. we've been so like upset with the Browns. We're playing so many rookies. Like I said, we're only 7 games in. Like, it takes time. Look at Mason Graham, Carson Schweschinger, Dylan Gabriel, Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Sampson, Harold. These are all guys that we're depending on to play for us. And they're in the first quarter of their first NFL season. Like, it's going to take time for things to click. I thought even today in the rain, we saw more play action rollouts from Dylan Gabriel. We saw him use his athleticism a little bit more. Like, he still wasn't perfect, but like you saw, it almost seemed like they gave him like a little bit more. And maybe next week he's going to have like a little bit more. And then maybe, 3/4 through the year, he's got a little bit more. I just think like we have to understand where the Browns are and know like you're not just going to go out there and throw your entire playbook at, 8 rookies and say, go figure it out and expect them to be good. Like we're in a rebuild and it's about developing. Everybody else talks about like, who have they developed? Well, they're trying now. They're trying, you know what I mean? And people are upset that it didn't happen on day one. I don't think we're going to the playoffs by any stretch of the imagination, but I think we can rip off some wins in the next month and a half and be feeling decent about where we're headed. And I think if this Browns team with this offensive roster and this brutal of a schedule to start the season, I think if this team finishes with 6 wins, maybe, and if they can somehow get to 7 wins, that's a good year for this Browns team. I know we don't want to hear that, but that's like a year that you build on going in one more offseason. Who knows where you're at? So I don't know. I thought today was encouraging. Like still issues, still things to work on, but it's a lot easier to address those things after a win than a loss.
And a huge win. I mean, so you look at the Dolphins and, like Tua, they paid Tua a ton of money, gave him a big extension and everything. He has gone downhill drastically. The last 2 weeks, he's got 6 interceptions. He had no touchdowns and 3 picks today. Threw a pick. I mean, the pick 6 was a deflection. That was a great, great play by our new guy, Tyson Campbell. I see a lot of people saying, well, I think Andrew Berry won that trade. Trading Newsome over to Jacksonville, and then we got Tyson. I mean, Tyson Campbell made a hell of a play. That was, and I think the whole game he played very well.
He's played well 2 weeks in a row now. I know he got burnt by DK once last week, but which we talked about. DK can burn you sometimes,
and he's been here for two practices, maybe.
Yes,
maybe one.
I mean, so far that looks like a really he's a nice piece. He's playing well.
Yeah, he's got a piece that we're going to have for at least the next 3 seasons. So that's good. We got him under contract and everything. And just, like Donovan McMillan was balling out today. Grant Delpit. I was talking about him whenever you couldn't hear me, but what a freaking game he had.
That was maybe his best game as a Cleveland Brown.
I think so.
He was everywhere. That hit he put on the guy to stop, it was on 4th down, and he ended up hurting that guy. I don't know if he got up or not, but I mean, obviously he didn't die on the field, but I don't know what the extent of the injury was. Yeah. But he put a hit on him. That was another guy who balled out today was Alex Wright.
Yes. I see Alex a lot of people saying they need to extend him soon. And
my favorite play out of Alex Wright was when that lineman caught the deflection and Alex Wright decleated a tackle.
Yes,
you don't see that. Right. He decleated a tackle.
And that was the 4th quarter when it didn't even matter anymore. He just
leveled this dude, this 300-pound lineman. He took him. The first thing that hit the ground was that guy's shoulder pads.
Yes.
I was like, holy cow. Alex Wright was playing crazy today. Schwessinger had a huge hit early in the game. Mm-hmm. I think he's like trending towards defensive rookie of the year. If I can get Miles to be defensive player of the year, I need him to. I'm going to win a lot of money because I got a little parlay going on a futures bet. So
he can't go 3 games without sacks and TFLs and things anymore.
No, but I need him to turn it up a notch and win that for me. I can have a nice vacation.
Speaking of TFLs, I don't know if you saw in the notes there, but I was looking at the box score. 11 tackles for loss today by our defense. 11. And not a single player had more than 2. So everybody was getting after it. I know when we did the preview on Thursday, I talked about Devon Achane, and He made me nervous. He was the only one really on their offense that made me nervous this week because those small, shifty, fast running backs are the ones we struggle against. Like Jahmyr Gibbs, we saw him just tear us apart up in Detroit. And he did. I mean, Achane had a great game. He had 83 yards or something, 6.3 a carry, I think it turned out to be. But they couldn't do anything else. But I kind of lost my train of thought there, actually. Oh, no, the TFL. But everybody else that was getting the ball, they were getting them behind the line, and that was really, really good to see. Just a full team effort pretty much everywhere, but definitely on the defense.
That kind of energy is contagious. That's the kind of energy this defense needs to take on the road.
Yes, because please.
Here's the deal. This is the way this game went is the recipe for the Browns to get wins. The defense is going to have to carry. Obviously, the offense can't just score 6 points, 10 points. They got to at least give us something, okay? But the defense has to be the elite unit of this team. They have to be the ones who go out and do the heavy lifting. And then they need the special teams to just be, like you said before we got on here, they need to be at worst neutral, not lose us games, and occasionally make a play like they did today. And then the offense just has to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that the elite defense gives them. And that's how this team is set up to win this year. They're going to be ugly. This is why I try not to overreact like early in games. Basically, if the Browns can get it to the fourth quarter and it's still a game, then we've done a good job because we're going to have to win ugly. But we're not going to win most games 31-6 because we don't get to play. Unfortunately, we don't get to play the Dolphins every week. So if we want to give ourselves a chance, I think when I'm looking at our schedule, my goal for the Browns this year was to win the games that you should win. Okay, which is that sounds stupid, but you know what I mean. What I'm saying, the Browns weren't favored to win any of their first games. Up until the bye, this would have been the first game we were favored to win.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And we won it. You took care of the business that you were supposed to take care of. All these games that we're not favored in, you're just trying to steal one. Mm-hmm. Because we're not as talented as the teams we're playing right now. In Vegas knows that, which is why we're not favored. So I'm looking like the Jets is a game I think we should win. The Raiders is a game I think we should win. The Titans is a game I think we should win. Depending on what's going on at the end of the I think the Steelers are going to be collapsing by the time we play them again at home. We saw that already. So I just think like there's 3 or 4 games on the schedule right now that I would pick the Browns to win. Then just try to steal one then. And if you're going to steal one of those other ones that maybe you wouldn't be picked to win, it's going to start on the defense. And they have to be able to take it on the road because it can't just be only at home that you play with this kind of energy.
Right. The defense has to be able to do this on the road because the offense is going to struggle to score 17 at home and away. Like it's both, because if you look at the way it happened today, we had 31 points on the scoreboard. It's the first time we've been over 20 in the last. It was an 11-game stretch where we never reached 20. 3 times in the last 25. We hit 31 today. But really, 14 of those were the defense. One was definitely, 7 was the pick 6, and the other one, they took it back to the 2, and Quinshon just punched it in from there. Our offense only really drove down the field and generated 17 points. And I know it was out of hand late. We weren't really trying to drive 4 points, with a lot of urgency. But it still shows, like you're talking about, the limitations of our offense are going to be there the rest of the year. I don't see it getting better to the point where they're winning us games or they're the unit that's carrying us. That's not going to happen.
No, they just like I said, they got to be able to. If the defense gives us a short field, we got to be able to get at least 3, and if it's
right.
or in 7 sometimes. We gotta control the clock. Like time of possession today for the Browns, we've actually, despite being bad on offense, time of possession this year, we've actually been decent, but we had the ball 31 minutes today. We had it longer than they did. We got to play complementary football, but the special teams and the offense have to complement the defense. If the defense isn't the elite unit, the Browns just aren't, they're not going to win. They don't have the firepower. They don't have the experience on the offensive side of the ball to be able to go out and to say, okay, you go win us the game. The defense, that's why I was so upset with that Vikings game. Mm-hmm. I know that the offense didn't do enough, but we had a chance to win that game with our unit on the field, the unit that we're supposed to hang our hat on. and we lost. And I think, I mean, the defense was mad at themselves for that. Like that's, if you want to be the elite defense, that's the scenario you want. You want to be the ones on the field with the chance to go shut it out. Do we have another voicemail?
Yeah, let me hit a commercial break real fast. Then we got a couple voicemails and some other things to talk about on the other side. This episode is sponsored by Southern New Hampshire University. Browns fans, do you ever feel stuck in your current job? Like if you just had a different degree or some more education in a certain area, you could do something you really want to do. Well, Southern New Hampshire University has the answers for you. Head over to snhu.edu/bark to learn how you can get started on your new career today. SNHU is one of the largest online accredited universities in the United States, and it's radically affordable. Their online tuition rates are some of the lowest in the nation. So seriously, what are you waiting for? Head over to snhu.edu/bark to learn how you can get started on your degree for your new career, 100% online and 100% on your time. snhu.edu/bark.
Since 1989, Mount Hope Fence has set the standard in outdoor living. From decks and railings to fences and patios, we've got you covered. Our lineup features top brands like TimberTech, AlumaGuard, Preferred Railing, and Unilock, along with our own premium Duralux vinyl products. For over 30 years, we've partnered with contractors ensuring reliable job site delivery. Discover quality and excellence in all things outdoors with Mount Hope Fence.
So I just saw that Jim Schwartz accepted the game ball from the defense after the game, and he wasn't wearing a shirt.
Yeah, I saw it.
These guys were going nuts after the game. That's pretty cool.
It was awesome.
It win games, guys. It's more fun when you win. We all know that. All right, let's get Josh's voicemail here.
Social worker Josh here. Just finished watching the highlights. Didn't get to watch the game, but loved seeing the score, tracking the game today, and excited to hear your guys' thoughts. The defense, my God, they were nasty, picking up turnovers, making interceptions, getting pressure on the quarterback. Good God, those highlights were fun to watch, and I can't wait to listen to your guys' recap of this game. Here we go, Brownies. Woof, woof.
Well, social worker Josh, I'm happy you're here and you're listening. And of all the games to miss, you missed the best one we played in a while, so that stinks. I made the comment to my wife, we were watching the game at the end, and I was like, it's almost getting ugly for the Dolphins. I was like, they might just want to call this. It was like when I used to coach junior high, and we'd smell blood in the water because we were playing a team that just wasn't good, and then all of a sudden your guys start feeling themselves, and they're not scared of getting beat deep, and they just start flying around and just putting helmets on helmets and just laying people out. It was kind of like watching that. And we had blood in the water, and we went out and we just squashed any chance they had. There was no chance of a comeback. Like, this defense was flying around. You could tell going into the fourth quarter, Dolphins players they just didn't want to play anymore. Like, no. if we would have said, guys, let's just call it now, you don't have to play the fourth, they would have walked off the field.
Yeah, and I mean, it is definitely a good, reality check. As bad as things can be, as a Browns fan, and I know we haven't won a bunch of games in the last couple seasons and things aren't the best right now. I'd rather be a Browns fan than a Dolphins fan right now because I haven't been following closely like all the drama that's been going on with that team. I know they've had some players only meetings or like guys that aren't showing up for things, and Tua made some comments or whatever, and then he had to apologize. We don't have all that drama, thankfully. And like we've already said multiple times, like the whole team looks like they're checked out. The coach looks like he knows he's done and he doesn't care. I don't know. It's not a good look. It's not a good look for any of these guys right now. And it's really not a good look for some of these guys moving forward either.
No, I mean, like, we could be the Dolphins. We could be the Titans.
How about the Jets? I think the Jets are going to be.
We could be the Jets.
Aaron Glenn's going to get fired in season, right? In his first season.
If they fire him in season in the first season, that's wild.
I've been hearing
that's like this. That's the story though. Like, that's just bad. That's being a bad franchise. You know what I mean? Like, because firing your coach in the season, yeah, they are. Which is why, like, I don't want the Browns to go down that path. Because what is firing? If you fire your coach in the season, you think you're going to turn it around and go? No. So just the season's done if you're the Jets. Just let him be there if you're going to fire him. Or I don't know, it's a first-time head coach. Maybe give him an opportunity to build something. You don't build things in a season, especially when you're taking over a dumpster fire. Occasionally a coach can go somewhere that has like a lot of good pieces and they're just missing like that coach that can kind of like get them to all blend together the way they need to and be good. Like kind of like Ben Johnson at the Bears. Did they win today?
Yeah. They play the Saints.
Okay. But like they had, a number 1 overall pick at quarterback. They got DJ Moore. They have, 2 good tight ends. They got running backs. And it's like, if we can just get a guy who can figure out how to use these pieces, we're going to be good. That wasn't the Jets. Right. You know what I mean? They basically got Garrett Wilson. Justin Fields got benched today.
Yeah.
For Tyrod Taylor.
It's rough. Rough in the New York streets.
Yes. So like the grass is not always greener, people. I saw the list of potential head coach candidates that the Titans
that was
will
a bogus list. They had Matt Nagy on that list. I'm like, no, this isn't the real list. And then I saw a different one somebody posted today of like actual like who could become candidates by the end of the season. I thought that's a much more. That's a
Arthur
list.
Smith, Matt Nagy, no. And I was like, oh my god, no. This is a bad time to be in the market. If that was
that was for clicks, man. They were just trying to farm some engagement. That was ridiculous. Matt Nagy ain't never going to be a head coach in this league again. Come on.
You would think that, but they like to recycle them.
They do.
But
anyway, back to this game. This game was this, and Miles said it after the game, and I don't know. Some people might have taken it the wrong way, but after the game, Miles said, this is great and everything, but one win ain't going to cut it. Like, we have to start making this a habit. And I retweeted that and said, this is exactly what I've been talking about. Yes, you guys won the game today. It looked great. Everybody played well, and we're going to enjoy it. We're going to celebrate it. But I'm not hanging my hat on beating the freaking Dolphins. Like, this is how that game should have gone. If you were any bit of a good team whatsoever, this is how it should have gone. You need to carry this now. You need to, and maybe we don't win in New England, but I don't want to see us get beat down like we've been getting beat down on the road. Go and make it competitive. Take it to the wire. Maybe pull out a win. Show that you can actually do this stuff on the road, and this isn't just, well, we can beat the snot out of these bad teams that are about ready to quit anyway. Okay, that's great that you won, but it doesn't do a whole lot for me in terms of, are you a good team? Go beat good teams.
Obviously, there's no moral victories in the NFL. It's like wins and losses. Yeah. But the Browns, I would imagine, are going to be pretty heavy underdogs in New England next week. Like you said, come out and play hard. Mm-hmm. Don't give up. Because it's going bad early or something like that. Make it, see if you can steal one. And then if we lose on a field goal, or we played tough and we didn't beat ourselves and they just beat us just because at this point they're better than us, I can live with that, because now I feel pretty, we're going into the bye and coming out of the bye. We already talked about our opponents, Jets, Raiders, Ravens teams are struggling, got a ton of injuries. Like, don't make me feel disgusted after the Patriots game. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because then we had that whole 2-week stretch of like,
yes. But there might not be any moral victories inside the locker room, but like me as a realist of knowing where this team is, I can take a little bit of a moral victory if we can go up there and play with a team who's playing really well right now and just beat the Bills. Like, and if we can play them tight for 4 quarters and maybe they inch us out in the end, but like we gave them a run for their money. We gave them all they could handle. And then we get to head into the bye week coming out with the hardest part of our schedule done. And now we get to look into like a little bit of the easier part of our schedule. I'll feel good about where the Browns are, because at least in terms of expectation, we've won infinitely more games before the bye than I thought we were going to win.
You were an 0-8er.
I thought we would be 0-8 at the bye week. And now we have 2 wins. And a chance at 3. It's probably a low chance, but a chance at 3 wins heading into the bye week. Like, I understood where this season was and what we were going to be. And if we can now start coming out and competing, like the last couple of times we've played really good teams, we just got dominated, Lions and Ravens. Like, if we can come out and compete with these guys, at least make it interesting, don't beat ourselves, I'm going to feel good about the direction of this team, where the locker room's at, the buy-in's still there, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Or, if it's like the Vikings game, where you've got the lead at the end with a chance to close it out, freaking close it out. That's what I want to see. I want to see this team start doing things that good NFL teams do. Just start taking those steps forward and showing that you are progressing, because it didn't feel like that, at least to me, for a little while. But today was definitely a great step in the right direction. One guy that I want to make sure I mention before I just completely forget, I feel like, especially in our check down offense, which is all we can do, if it's like 3rd and 8 and you throw the ball to Harold Fannin for 1 yard, he's getting 9. Yeah, and he's getting 9 yards. Like, there's no stopping Harold Fannin Jr. from picking up a first down. You can't do it. You literally can't stop him. He's amazing. He's amazing.
There are some really nice bright spots on the team, even on the offensive side of the ball. And I've been banging the drum about how this is the worst offensive roster in football, and I believe that. But that doesn't mean that there's not a couple bright pieces. Like, Fannin is a nice bright spot, but you're missing on the offense. You're missing a couple of just super important things: 2 NFL tackles, 1 number 1 NFL wide receiver, and most likely a high-level NFL starting quarterback. Like, you can have all the bright spots you want at running back and tight end and stuff like that, but the tackle position is in shambles for the Browns. It is, and the wide receiver is, even with the game today. How many drops did we have?
Today I don't know, because we didn't throw very many passes.
I think we still had at least 3 or 4.
I know Thrash had the 1 drop. Like you said, how'd he drop that? Hit him right in the chest, right?
Yes. I'm pretty sure we had 3 or 4 drops still. And it's like, from the tackle position to the receiver position, and then we've already talked about what we think Dylan Gabriel is. There's like the entire chat's just people arguing about why isn't Shedeur playing. I
know. I just had to put somebody in timeout because I was like, this is stupid. I'm
like, guys, don't be stupid in the chat. Like, we won the game, so let's not be stupid. We talked about, I'm excited to see, I really do hope we get to see Shedeur sometime. I'd love to see him coming out of the bye.
So
I want to see us try to push the ball down the field. Will that open up anything? Does that open up the run game? Does that do anything to help? Because we just don't have it right now.
Well, here's what I'll say real quick is I fully do not expect Shedeur to be the quarterback coming out of the bye.
I
like 0% chance. And I'll explain why in a second. But I saw somebody earlier in the chat say something about, they were upset that Kevin still had Dylan in the game in the 4th quarter trying to pad his stats. Barry Shuck, actually, from Dogs by Nature, just called me while we were on the episode here, and he left a voicemail. I saw it pop up on my computer, and he said, my only question today was, why didn't we see Shedeur in the 4th quarter? Well, they've already said, Kevin has already come out and said, Shedeur Sanders is not coming into a game. I mean, unless he absolutely has to, Dylan gets hurt. He's not playing until he has a full week of practice and a game plan designed for him. Why would you just put him in the 4th quarter to hand the ball off to ice the game? You're still not going to, then people are going to be mad. They didn't let him throw the ball. Well, no kidding. We were up 31-6.
It's raining.
It's raining. Like, you're not going to just let Dylan just ride the game out. And like, I saw somebody post on Twitter that said Dylan totally deserved to go take that kneel down in victory formation for his first ever victory in the NFL at home, in front of his home crowd. Absolutely. There's all that kind of stuff comes into play.
And it's not like Dylan Gabriel's a 10-year vet. He's also still needs reps.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, this is his 3rd game of his professional career. You're not going to create unneeded controversy. Like, you know what I mean? Duh. Why would you do that? Mm-mm. Very rarely do teams bench their quarterbacks at the end and let somebody else go in and play. Freaking Tom Brady'd be in there and they'd be up 60 points. Like, you know what I mean? It's not, the goal of the Browns isn't to see if, to get Shedeur ready to go play in the game. During the games, during the week of practice, their good job is to make sure he is ready if he has to go into the game, or once they make him the starter, prepare him to be ready for the game. But once they're in the game, the goal is to win the game, not get anybody hurt, and get to the next week. They're not just sitting there going, well, Shedeur's been trying hard. We should put him in the game now. That's the only thing that would be fair. No, Dylan Gabriel's the starting quarterback. He gets to go out and play the game. Come on, we weren't up by 80. This isn't middle school.
Yeah, and people are saying, please explain about what I said about the bye week. Like you said, first of all, Dylan just won. The Browns just won. You're not benching your starting quarterback after a win. Now if we go into New England next week and he throws like 5 picks and looks absolutely horrendous, okay, maybe I'll change my perspective on this. But he seems like he runs the offense so safely for Kevin, and this is Kevin's guy. Kevin is not going to intentionally bench Dylan Gabriel, the guy that he wanted, the guy that he fell in love with in the pre-draft process, and they made sure they used a 3rd-round pick on him. He's not benching him after 4 games. Whenever he didn't do anything dramatically obvious that he needs benched. It's not going to happen. You said this before the season even started, training camp and stuff. Dylan's going to have every single opportunity to fail before they ever give Shedeur Sanders a chance to be successful. And I think that still holds true. They're going to give Dylan, I wouldn't be surprised they give him the rest of the season. And at this point, I'm sort of coming in. I'm coming into this philosophy, watching college football, looking at these quarterback prospects and things for next year's draft and all that kind of stuff. And like we've been talking about, if the Browns rattle off some wins here down the stretch, we're not going to be in that top 5, top 7 of the NFL draft. We're going to be more toward the 11, 12, 13 spot with our pick. The Jaguars are already, 4-3. We're going to be in the middle of the round. And I have not really seen, I know Fernando Mendoza and people like Dante Moore and some of these guys, Ty Stimson starting to heat up down in Alabama. But I still haven't seen anybody that I'm like, I need that quarterback. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how you feel, but nobody's really moved me yet to the point where I just want to shut the door on Shedeur Sanders next year and say, we need to move on right now and just draft another quarterback right away. We need receiver. We need to get a top flight alpha dog number 1 receiver. We need to get a tackle. I'd rather at this point, and again, this could all change obviously over the next 8-10 months, whatever it is. But I feel really strongly that they need to focus on getting those key pieces early in the draft. You've got Shedeur Sanders. If he spends this entire season backing up Dylan, learning the nuances of the NFL, preparing for games and all that kind of stuff, he could be your starter next year, and maybe he could be the guy. Yeah, rather than taking a shot on one of these other guys and never giving him a chance.
I don't understand the people who think like because they won't play him right now that they don't like him. They want him to be ready. They think he has the potential to be good. They don't want to just throw him to the wolves. Do you want him to go play behind KT Levinston and Lucas at tackle? Do you want him throwing to Jamari Thrash?
Not really.
You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't even want to see him right now. I want to see him because I'm selfish and I just want to see him throw the ball downfield.
I think that's what a lot of people are too. They're just they want to see him because they think he can be the guy, which is what we're saying.
But I would much rather, as hard as as much as it might suck, I'd much rather when he finally does get a chance to play for the Browns, he's 100% ready to show and be the best Shedeur he can be. And if you're in the chat and you're like talking crap to us, go back and watch our draft episodes. Me and Josh and Justin all wanted them to pick Shedeur, especially me and Justin. Mm-hmm. I was okay with them taking him at number 2 overall. So I'm not anti-Shedeur. I just don't buy into like conspiracy theories and all this stuff. Like they want to make sure he has a chance to be good. They don't want to just put him out there when he's not ready. And you might think he's ready, but you're not in the building. Because you watched him play against low-level competition in college, you think he's ready? Like, you don't know that. I don't know. I'm going to let these guys it seems like there's actually a plan. So let's let them execute the plan. If the plan fails, then you can criticize the plan, but they're still mid-plan.
Well, and that's, I will give people a little leeway on that's assuming there's a plan. If you are of the mindset out there that, and I'm kind of like this too, I don't really trust this Browns regime with their quarterback evaluation. Until they show me they can get it right, they've got it wrong a lot. They've really misevaluated quite a few players at that position. So I'm hoping that there is this plan for Shedeur because I see where that could be the case, and it makes sense. It really does make sense to ease him along. And like I just said a little bit ago, have him be your starter, have him be ready to go to be your week 1 starter in 2026. That way you're not using a first round pick on another quarterback when you have a guy who could be that for you anyway. And he's already got a year of experience in the NFL under his belt. Maybe not on the field, but in an NFL offense, in the NFL system, all that kind of stuff. And then you can get those other pieces that, quite frankly, I don't care who you draft at quarterback. If you do next year, without a top receiver, it's not going to look great. Without a good tackle on on the left side, it's not going to look great. I mean, Jerry Jeudy's. It's worth it. And I know we don't push the ball downfield, and some of that is on Dylan too, a little bit, but he's just not that guy. And I said yesterday, it's Cardinal Tate, or not. Like, that's it. My mock drafts in the draft process are going to be so easy next year because it's going to be Cardinal Tate no matter what with one of those first round picks every time.
I would. First thing I want to address here is the problem most of the Shedeur fans have is we see favoritism from coaching staff because of college alliance. Bill Musgrave is a former Oregon QB, not giving a fair shot. Bill Musgrave was brought on this team more than likely because of his connection with Shedeur and his connection with Dion. Him and Dion played together. We talked about that. And that's the kind of stuff you say and just makes people roll their eyes. And then why they just combat you in the comments, because that is, I'm not trying to be too mean to you, but that's an ignorant statement. That's like, come on. He's going to show allegiance to the guy who played 1 year at Oregon. It's not like Dylan Gabriel is an all-time Oregon great or something, and Bill Musgrave is a booster for Oregon. Come on. And then speaking, when I'm trying to build this team, I would almost, depending on what they do in free agency, I'm almost taking 2 wide receivers in the first round. If they can address tackles in free agency, man. We talked about this draft. We wanted them to go all offense in this draft. Yeah. They ended up going defense with 2 of the first 3 picks. It's hard to complain about this draft because another guy who played super well today was Mason Graham. He did. I didn't know he was going to play this week, and he ended up playing, and he played super well. Carson Schweschinger is probably going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. It's hard to complain about drafting Defensive Rookie of the Year. Okay? That being said, it's more of a 2-year rebuild because there were so many holes. You weren't going to fill all of them. They took guys who are helping this team, so it's tough to complain about the draft. The next draft just has to be all offense.
I know.
We need to infuse this team with so much young offensive talent, so much more at key positions. Like Fannon's good young talent, Judkins good young talent. But as much as we love those, running back and tight end aren't necessarily like your impact positions per se on the offensive side of the ball. You need a tackle. You need an alpha dog wide receiver. We'll see about quarterback. Like that, you got to address those positions.
Yeah, running back and tight ends aren't your positions that make the big dollars. It's wide receiver 1 and left tackle. Those guys make the big bucks on your offense, aside from quarterback and all that other stuff. But those are your key positions. And I've been saying that to people all weekend because people keep saying, wow, man, we need to try to get Caleb Downs. I'm like, no, I love Caleb Downs. He's awesome. I don't want any more defensive players. We did it last year. Like you just said, we took those defensive guys with our first 2 picks. That was great. It's working out. Kudos. Knock it off with the defense. We have got to finally start investing freaking high draft capital into the offense because it sucks. And I can't do this again. We need players. We need players.
I agree. Do we have any more voicemails, or do we get to all of them?
We can wrap this thing up here with Kenny real quick.
Yo, guys, it is Kenny Mack, and I am still celebrating this big Browns victory. We had a fantastic day, and the Discord got together. We had Stacy. She had us covered. Literally, they had wherever they were tailgating, we did not get wet. And Peter R. came. Brad friggin' Moneymaker came, and Justin Charles came with him, and we had a fantastic time. But I got on there. Josh put me on social. I said, all we need to do is give Quinshon his carries, and that 32nd rated defense could not handle it. That's the Dolphins I'm speaking about, and our defense is who we thought they were. At the end of that game, we got 3, maybe 4 turnovers. I like what I see. For real, guys, is this sustainable? Can you always win like that? Well, the Steelers can. And you know what? For all the shit that Gabriel's got to go through, that dude does not turn it over. He doesn't get it down the field, but maybe that's what the script is because our offensive line can't block for more than what that throw is worth, right? At the end of the day, I'm happy. We won. Let's go, Brownies. Hoo, hoo, hoo.
First of all, Kenny doesn't always sound like that. I don't know
he
what
does not
was
have
going.
a lisp. It's just the way it comes through on his phone, I guess.
I love it when Kenny's got his lisp in his voicemail. That was awesome. Everything Kenny said was right, though. The defense played well. The offense, part of the reason we can't go deep sometimes is because we can't block. Other times it's there. We don't throw it to them. But the recipe for success, again, we're wrapping it up. Defense has to be elite. Special teams has to not screw it up. Keep making kicks. Andre Schmidt seems to be, he's doing well. And then the offense just has to play complementary football to an elite defense. They got to not turn it over right now. They got to take advantage of short fields. They got to be able to run the ball, control the clock so the defense can get some rest. And then just try to win ugly late. And that's what that's the Browns recipe for success when they're not playing the Dolphins, because that they're a bad football team. I don't know. Like, this was 2 1-5 football teams. Mm-hmm. And you would have thought the Browns were the 2007 Patriots today.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, it was so, but we're obviously excited about the win for the Browns. I think for me, most encouraging thing out of this game was seeing the defense be fired up, but it was seeing a locker room. There was stark contrast to the two teams today. You saw one team, both teams 1-5. One team still came out, competed, played hard, executed a game plan, and another didn't have a ton of penalties, only 5 penalties today. Outside of the game where I think it was Levinston had like 4 or 5 penalties all to himself. I think the most we've had in a game is 6 this year. So, like, you're seeing a team they're more disciplined. The Dolphins had so many stupid penalties. They might still be getting penalties. So they're on the plane. The refs are throwing flags at them on the plane. It's just there's a stark contrast to the two locker rooms today and to the two teams. And to me, that is a reason to be encouraged if you're a Browns fan. Clearly, they're not out. Like, they're still bought in. They're still playing hard. There's still a half a season of football to go with the easier part of the schedule coming up. So it was an encouraging win. It was a win I felt like you needed to get because the sky would have been falling if you wouldn't have beat this Dolphins team. So not just beat them, but to come out and do it soundly and it not even really be a contest. Like, we don't even really have anything to talk about. There's no drama this week. We came out, we had a game, we took care of business against an inferior opponent, and we're on to the next week. Like, it felt like we were a good football team today, and that's like the best way I can put it. So I was excited for the win, and I was excited to get on here and share that with you guys tonight.
Yeah, and to speak to his question there at the end, is it sustainable and everything? Like I said this earlier in the show, we're going to New England next week, so now we got to take this performance on the road, and you cannot go into New England and expect them to bail you out on offense over and over again with penalties. They're a well-coached football team. Miami was not. There were so many times, like our offensive drives, there was a few there that would have just sputtered and been punts. But they, they illegal hands to the face or, holding or passing it for whatever, just to, 15 yards, chunk down the play, and then we could score. They helped us a lot. So you got to remember those things that take place within the game as well. So you can't expect that to be every week where the other team's just handing you first downs and over and over. And defense just has to go on the road. You have got to go on the road. You got to play like this. I'm not saying you got to play like, or I don't want to see you play almost like this or close. You play like this. Do this. Yes. You don't. You say all the time like they're front runners. When you're at home and the crowd's pumping you up, then they're playing with their hair on fire and they're doing this stuff. Do it on the road. Let me see you do it on the road. We need to see
that's what should be sustainable. Energy, right. The focus, the effort, that should be sustainable. Take it with you now. Let's build on that. And again, even if you don't come out and get the W next week, let's say we force it. Let's make it ugly. Let's turn it into a dogfight. A piss and match with a skunk, as our old high school coach used to say. Like let's make it ugly and let's give them all the scratch, claw, do whatever we got to do, make it an ugly game, take it to the fourth quarter, and then let the chips fall where they may, and just let's make it look like two good football teams playing each other, and then that's more to build on. That's more energy from the locker room. Like, okay, we're getting closer every week. We're getting closer to where we want to be. So let's see if that carries. But overall, super happy with today. I'm just super pumped to be able to get on social media this week and just hopefully people are happy with the win and not just like, not the way it's been the last couple of weeks. I saw somebody said, I can't believe they're happy to beat the Dolphins. Well, sure as shit beats losing to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So I'm always happy to get a win. I don't care who we're playing. They're still professional athletes. A win is a win. Whoever's on our schedule, I hope we beat them. So
absolutely.
But
I'll never be mad about a win.
No, not ever. We'll wrap this thing up. We appreciate you guys being here on a Victory Sunday. Hopefully we can build on this, take this heading into the Patriots, then into the bye. Like I said, my hot take, you heard it here first. The Browns are going to win 3 of their next 4 games, 4 of 5 counting today, to make this a little bit more interesting heading into the last third of the season. Some people will probably be here in a month really talking crap to me when we lose all 4 of those games, but I'm putting it out there now. You can't be afraid to put it out there into the ether. I'm speaking it into existence. That's my hot take. You heard it here first. We're going to win 4 or 5, 3 of the next 4. So appreciate you guys being here, and we'll see you guys later this week when we preview the Patriots matchup.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dogs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.
BetterHelp. Browns fans, if you're like me, the stresses in life only increase the older you get. Your family, your job, your bank account, just a few things that drive the cycle of stress every day. And if you have people constantly depending on you, it can put a heavy weight on your mental health. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? Why does no one appreciate everything I'm trying to do for them? If these thoughts have ever darkened your day, 1, you're not alone, and 2, I highly recommend talking to someone, and that's where BetterHelp could be the right resource for you. Head to BetterHelp, HELP.com/dogs, DAWGS for 10% off your first month of talk therapy. Just fill out a simple questionnaire and BetterHelp will match you with the best therapist for your needs. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch therapists at any time for no extra cost. BetterHelp is 100% online. You can talk with your therapist on the phone, via face chat, or even through text message. Your therapist will listen, ask questions, and help you see things from new perspectives. So what are you waiting for? Take the first step to making positive improvements in your life. Head to BetterHelp.com/dogs now for 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/dogs for 10% off your first month.